This was one of my first horror movies as a kid. My very first was American Werewolf in London, but this was one of my first. I've been trying to watch it for years now, but it was never streaming. Well, fast forward to 2025 and it's streaming on Peacock. Is it as good as I remembered? No. Is the stuff that I remember accurate? Unfortunately, no, too, because I had remembered that the old lady died first, but there's actually one kill before her. I think all the kills are pretty solid for a PG-13 movie. I think the plot is pretty good. Um, I think it's all right. It's a religious horror movie, which isn't really my thing because I'm not, really religious, but I think it kind of works here with, the villain in the movie being the devil. Um, I don't think I really have to get into the religious stuff to talk about this movie, but I will say that it is a pretty big part of the plot. So, none of these characters really get names from what I remember. I mean, there's a point where they say their names in like maybe one scene, but they don't get referred to by that in the movie after that. So they don't really matter. I will end up talking about some religious things, but I don't think I really need to talk about it for this part of the movie. Um, it's, I believe, five, maybe six people get stuck on an elevator, and it turns out all of them have sinned. So, the devil is secretly one of them, and is going to punish all of them one by one. Some of them have very minor crimes, and some of them have pretty bad crimes. Like, one of the guys on there is played by Shocker, from the MCU anyway, and he was also in Wishmaster 2. I think he's an underrated actor. I think he's pretty good. This was probably my introductory to him since I watched this movie as a kid. I think he's really good here. It turns out that he's got a history of beating people. Not domestic violence, but still not good. It's assault and battery charges. So, he likes to get violent at his jobs. But he's just a temp in this movie. Still crazy that he got hired for a security job with having a violent history. Another character does some like pyramid schemes and shit and makes a lot of people lose their jobs. Pretty shitty guy. He's the first person to die. He gets stabbed in the neck with some glass when the lights go out. Because that's how the kills happen. Because we gotta have the killer be a mystery, which I'm fine with. I don't think it would work if we knew who was doing it. Then there's one girl that likes to blackmail people and get money from rich people. They never say how she's blackmailing them, but I assume that, she would have them have an affair with her and then be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to tell your wife if you don't give me a bunch of money. Then there's the old lady is in there for stealing. Which, yeah, stealing isn't the greatest, but really? That's a death sentence? And then, even worse, one of the people who's apparently going to be killed, their great crime is they're a liar. Though, by far the worst person on there, which legitimately, I'm not talking about, like I was being sarcastic there, um, is a guy who did a hit and run. And he had killed a wife and a kid. And he ends up being the only survivor of the movie. That pissed me off as a kid, and it still pisses me off. That the only person that survives is someone who's literally a murderer, technically. Sure, it's manslaughter in the legal sense, but he's the only one that gets to live. That's insane to me. because he repents and, he doesn't expect to be forgiven and blah, blah, blah. And then the devil's like, damn, and I really wanted to kill you, and disappears. So he's the only one that gets to survive. When he's the one that arguably, obviously committed the worst crime. Yet the fucking liars and um, thieves and shit like that, they get killed. That's pretty crazy to me. Um, Now, the big plot twist of the movie is the second person that gets killed is the old lady in the movie. She gets like hung when the lights go out at the elevator. And it turns out later she's the devil. There's some tense scenes in this movie with like the security guard about to fight the other guy. I think his name. I think they actually do mention these people's name near the end. I think it was like Ben and Tony. I forget what the girl's name was. But yeah, Ben and Tony fight, and then they get yelled at by security. There's another thing in this movie that they can hear people talking to them through the speaker, but they can't talk back to them because the speaker's messed up or something. It doesn't add that much to the movie, so I don't know why they added that. I mean, it does add to the very last scene of the movie a little bit, but not that much. The fact that he's like, you can drop the act now. They can't hear you. But that's really it. Because he thinks that she's the killer. But then, the big plot twist is that neither of them are the killer. It's one of the people that's already dead. The devil, who's the old woman, obviously the least obvious suspect, especially since she was already dead. This movie definitely fooled me as a kid. So, yeah, I think it's a decently solid movie. I think it's a pretty. I think maybe you could start people on this horror movie. I started my friend who didn't like horror movies on Final Destination because we both like Mortal Kombat, and I thought that this is kind of similar to Mortal Kombat. I think you'll love this movie. But we're not here to talk about that. This movie, like I said, it's pretty solid. People get stuck in an elevator. There's other people trying to get them out, and one of them secretly the devil and killing them when the lights go out. It's a very simple plot. But I just don't like the ending. But the only person that survives is the one that did a hit and run and killed a wife and a child. Not only that, he's forgiven by the husband. And then that's how the movie ends. Really stupid ending. But I don't think it ruins the movie.